Hello, guys. Good morning.
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 Good morning, Gonzalo. Good morning, Samuel, Axel. Good morning, and Virginia is connecting as I speak. Great.
Morning.
Good morning. All right. Manage project cost. That is the name of this, okay? How to manage the project cost is similar to budgeting, but it's not the same thing, okay? That is the first thing that you need to learn. Some people get confused with budgeting and managing the cost, okay? What is the difference? Any idea? What could be the difference between a budget and the cost of the project? The budget of the project and the cost of the project, any idea? Any guess?
Could it be the budget is an estimation of what you're going to spend in a project and what you have to spend for a project, and the cost is what you're really expending on the project?
Good one. Good one. That is so true. What else? Samuel, what do you think? What is the difference between budgeting and costing?
Maybe a bit of like you're organizing it beforehand
What?
rather than
What you organize beforehand? What?
how much everything's gonna sort of run to, because you're trying to fit a parameter both of quality and the budget, so it might not be exactly, I don't know, sorry. But it might not exactly line up. I'm not sure.
Getting close. What came first? What came first? The budget or
the project.
yes, but in the project, what came first? The definition of the budget or the definition of the cost?
Oh, definition of the cost, I'd say.
Virginia, what do you think?
I think the budget comes first. We select the budget and then we find out the cost, I guess.
Yep, that is correct, guys. Please let's not forget this. The budget came first, all right? So project costing is not budgeting, is not. So the project manager needs to submit the cost of the project to others for approval, the project sponsor. Yeah, but that is a component of the organization budgeting process. All right. So the budget is defined by the company. The budget is defined by the company. The cost is defined by the project manager. Okay. Can we remember that? Is that clear? So please remember what I told you about projects. We have two big elements: the company, like this, huge, and then we have the project, which is separated from the company. Yeah, the company give us the budget. The company will give us the budget that we may have available for us to do the project. Okay, and it's part of the budgeting process that any organization will run. Organizations, they have budgets predefined for marketing, for research and development, for finance, for human resources, okay? So organizations, they have that budget predefined. Company directors, they negotiate those budgets, okay? But the project cost is separated from that budget, since the project manager, not the company, has to define what is the project cost. And if that cost will fit within that budget, we will have a green card. If that cost doesn't fit the budget, we will have issues because the company does not have a budget to run that kind of project, the kind of project that you are proposing. All right? That is extremely important to understand the difference between budgeting and costing, because people get confused with this term. So what is the name of this unit? Manage the project cost. That is why it's called manage the project cost. You see, it's not called manage the project budget, because we don't manage the budget. The business manages the budget. The directors of the business define the budget for marketing, for research and development, for finance, for manufacturing, for maintenance, for human resources, for international expansion, for logistics. That's the company's work, and they do that regardless if there is a project that will be using that budget or not, regardless. Which means, think about it, which means that you may have 4 or 5 projects, all within a budget. Is that clear?
Can you repeat that, please?
So let's just define the difference between budgeting and costing. Why this is important? Because I want you to be professional. I want you to be confident. I want you to use the right words when you are working as a project manager. I don't want you to go and say, I will define what is the budget of my project, because that is wrong. What you need to say is, I will define the cost of my project. The cost of my project, not the budget. Why not? Because budgets are predetermined, are pre-planned, not by the project sponsor, but by the company directors. At the end of each financial year, guys, at the end of each financial year, company directors, they have a meeting. That meeting is called OPCOM, Operational Committee, or the board meeting. And they define in that meeting, out of all the money that the company has available, what is the budget for each one of the functional areas of a company? Which is the amount that will be appointed to each one of the functional areas of a company. So give me examples of functional areas, please, of a company, Gonzalo.
Human resources, marketing.
Yep.
Finance.
Finance. More.
Operations.
Operations.
Manufacturing.
Manufacturing. Maintenance, research and development, and so on. Logistics, purchasing, and so on. Okay? So those are functional areas. What does it mean? It means that the company needs those functions supported by a budget. A budget that that function may use or may not use. May use or may not use. Okay? Of course, a good director, a good company director will try to use that budget. So the next financial year, they have a business case to say, you know what, I need that same money or even more. If the company director doesn't use that budget, the company CEO, the chief executive officer, will say to that director, you know what, you didn't use your budget last year, and this other function is asking for more money. I'm going to pass the money that you didn't use last year to the other functional area. So, complex unit is one of the most difficult ones in terms of the context that we need to understand. We need to understand once again, that our projects are separated from companies' operations. All right, we need to recall that principle that we have discussed before. Yeah, because we have discussed that principle before, yeah? We have discussed it before, and you are confident with that piece of knowledge. You know that projects are separated from company's operations since we don't want to mess. We don't want to mess with company's operations. It's too risky to just go straight away and act on the operation of the company. To minimize the risk, we have projects. So we understand that. Okay, cool. The same way, we need to understand that budgets are related to companies' functional areas. So budgets are related to the organizations, and project costs are related to the project. So when we project managers, when we propose the project sponsor to approve the amount of money that we need for the project, we should not use the word budget. We should use the word cost. This is the cost of the project. The project sponsor will have a look at it and will say, this project cost is consuming 100% of my budget, which means that I will not be able to run any other related project for 1 year. For 1 year. You understand that? But if the project cost is 30%, 40% of the budget for that functional area, the project sponsor will say, you know what? That's fine. I will dedicate 30% of my budget to this project. I still have 70% of my budget to develop other projects as they arise. So that piece of knowledge is critical for us project managers to understand. Budgeting is done by the organization, costing is done by the project manager.
So Santi, the companies define the budget, they will have into account what they spent last year. So they will plan through like data history, right?
Yeah, retrospectively. They are going to have,
okay.
Yes,
so
it's always like
yeah,
that.
You don't tell the first of all, you don't tell the project sponsor, hey, I have this project in mind for the next year, it's going to cost this. So the project sponsor goes with that information. Like, you know what I mean? Like giving some information, previous information to the functional manager or functional.
Yes. I think that's a good practice. I
so
will
they discuss then with the CEO or
yeah, of course.
Okay.
I think that's, yeah. You don't have a project approved, but you have a good relationship with people with authority and power in the company. They are not yet project sponsors. We cannot call them project sponsors yet, but we know that they may be potential project sponsors because they are company directors. They have authority, they have influence, they have power. We may talk to them and we may say to that person, look, next year, I am planning to propose this project to the company. Please, when you are negotiating the budget for this functional area, take this in consideration so you don't give our budget to a different functional area. Guys, I'm telling you this because, look, when I was working for Kenworth, we had, and I can't disclose this, it's totally okay. This is academic. I had $2 million to do projects related to digital marketing, $2 million. All right. So that was the budget that was approved by the organization for that functional area, $2 million, which means that if I have one project that is $2 million, likely the project sponsor will say, too much to ask, because that is telling us that that will be the only project that the digital marketing function will be doing this year. So we need to understand that negotiation process as well, since that budget is limited for one period, for one financial year. That is predetermined. That's why I'm telling you, this is predetermined. The budget is out of our control. We project managers, we still managers. Remember that I told you that in one of the classes. We are at the middle. We are not functional managers, but we are project managers. But below, we have labor workers, and above, we have directors. So we still need to pay attention to the guidelines, to the instructions, to the strategy that we are receiving from directors. So what I want you to recall, what I want you to remember is, for you to be efficient project managers, when you're talking to the project sponsor, don't use the word budget. You understand there is a budget. You may know what is the budget of that functional area. You may know. You may, or you may not. It depends on how the company manages the information, all right? But you may know. But what you need to say is, all right, cool. This is the cost of my project. Now, second part of the class, how you calculate that cost. All right. So this is important. I am not saying how you calculate this budget. You see, I'm not saying that. I'm saying how you calculate the cost. So ideas, please. Now that we understand the difference, ideas, how we calculate the cost.
Similar to the time, I think. So you're going to do the work breakdown structure and then go down to the smallest area and then like break down how much each of the little units cost.
Very, very well. Very, very well. So we use the WBS to define two things. We use the WBS in project management to define two things. What is the duration of the project? Right? And what is the cost of the project? All right? So we need to have skills and knowledge related to the project activities and how the project will be done. Fantastic. We use the WBS to define that knowledge. What are the project activities? All right. And then we also need to have the skills and knowledge required to cost the project and present that cost to the project sponsor for approval. All right. So I'm going to repeat this because we're trying to escalate the knowledge that we are building. Yeah, we're trying to escalate it. All right. So now that you know the difference between budgeting and costing, that is clear. Now you need to have for this unit, you need to have two skill sets. Two skill sets. For this unit, two skill sets. That's why this unit is one class. Two skill sets. The first skill set is how to define the project activities using the WBS. That's it. How to define the project activities using the WBS. The WBS is the work breakdown structure. And we need to be very, very good at it. Because if we don't do this properly, we will be missing the point. We will be not nailing it. We will be making an estimation that may be false. Because we are doing estimation. You know what I mean? This is the beauty of our brain power when it comes to project management. We are building in our head things that are not there yet. You know what I mean? That's what we humans can do. We can create things in our minds. They don't exist yet, but because we conceive them, likely they will be built. So for us to have a good approximation to that reality, we need to have very good knowledge of the WBS technique. Because if we don't do the WBS technique properly, the estimation of our timeline will not be correct. But we are not talking about the timeline in this class. The estimation of our costing will not be correct, and that will create problems. And you know how sensitive is financial information in a company. You don't want to create the impression that you don't know the numbers, because that is part of your understanding of the industry. That is part of your understanding of the functional area. That is part of your understanding of your working team. What is the amount that I need for each one of these activities? But if I miss activities, even if I do the math properly, the costing will not be correct. So that is the first skill that I need you to have in this class. The first skill is how to define the project activities using the WBS. First skill. Second skill, which is very important, is, okay, now that you have that figure, now that you have that number, you need to disclose, listen, you need to disclose, you need to communicate that figure, that number to who? To who, Samuel?
To probably to the project sponsor or the stakeholders
Not the stakeholders
or the
yet,
team. Oh,
not to the team. You may not have
you don't
may
have
not
one
have
yet.
no. You need to disclose that information with the project sponsor, okay? But why I'm telling you that you need the skill? Because it's not easy. It's not easy to disclose financial information with a project sponsor. It's not simple. Why not? Because you need to convince that project sponsor to approve that project. And that skill, that negotiation, that communication skill is extremely important in this unit. So, in other words, we need to have technical skills to define the project activities using the WBS. Yes, technical. But we need to have social, personal skills to convince the project sponsor that that figure is correct and that that figure should be approved. Because you may be very, very good at costing. You may be very, very good at costing, but if you are not good at communicating, at disclosing that costing with the project sponsor, the project will not go ahead. Or the opposite, the opposite. You are not good doing the project costing. You are a very good communicator. You convince the project sponsor, but then the project sponsor will be like, come on, mate. You told me the project cost was $2 million and happens to be that is 3 million. What is going on? Your reputation goes down. So to balance the equation, to balance the knowledge, to balance the skills, I want you to remember out of this class, all right, for me, Gonzalo, for me, Samuel, for me, Virginia, for me, Axel, to be good at project costing, I need to display 2 skills. First one, defining project activities using the WBS. That one is easy for you because we have been talking a lot about it. Second skill that you need to display, how to communicate that figure. When I say figure, I am telling you a number. I'm talking about a number, all right? A ballpark figure, something that is related to an estimation that you do because you have the experience and the knowledge to define that figure. Or you may have help from an expert, all right, to define that figure. Once you have it, it's not enough to have that figure. It's not enough. You need to disclose it with the project sponsor. The project sponsor then will assimilate if that information is appropriated, is enough, is sufficient for that project sponsor, go and disclose that information with the directors, negotiate that cost, disclose with the directors that is within the budget. There you go. Now the project sponsor will be talking about budgets. Not you. You're talking about the costing. Then the sponsor will be talking about budgets and will say, look, this is a project that is using 70% of our budget for this functional area, but it's critical, so I will approve it. Or this project is just 10% of our budget. Let's do it. Let's take the risk. Who cares? It's just 10%. I'm telling you, if a project cost is consuming, right word, consuming more than 70% of the budget for that functional area, very, very difficult to have that project approved. All right. So, what tools, what knowledge, what equipment, what technology can we use to calculate and document the project cost? What knowledge? The first one, and we talked a lot about this one last class, is to know the project goal. And I just want you guys to remember, in project management, The project goal is like the queen in a chess game. It's so powerful. Like the project goal, if it's well established, if it's properly communicated, if it's a single project goal, remember that we talk about this. We cannot have in project management more than one goal. Some project managers, they talk about project goals, and I am like, you don't know what you're talking about. We may have different project objectives, but project goals has to be one and is related to the output. What is the product? What is the service? What is the experience? What is the software that this project will be giving us? All right. So for us to understand, for us to define the costing, the first thing that we need to have in our mind is, all right, what is the project goal? What is that we want to achieve? We need to picture it. We need to write it down. That will help us to define. That will be one of the ingredients that will help us to define the project cost. All right. Secondly, you need to identify, you need to develop the WBS. All right. Then you need to source. You need to source what is the amount required to complete those project tasks. You need to source. What is source? You need to research. You need to disclose that with providers, with suppliers, with agencies, with providers. And you need to talk, look, this is a project that we're running. In the next 3 months, we will be using these sort of components, these parts, these softwares, these experts. What is the actual cost as we're speaking? Because last year, it was $1,000. This year, is still $1,000? I don't know. I just add the inflation. But the provider, the supplier will confirm that. Are you getting this? All right, I'm going to start again because now what we know now, we know the difference between budgeting and costing, easy. We know what we need to know, which is fantastic. When you know what you need to know, education just goes smoothly. So what you need to know, you need to have skills and knowledge to define the project cost using the WBS, easy. And secondly, you need to have negotiation skills to convince the project sponsor to approve that project cost. But that is social, that is human, that is communication, that is leadership, that is your personality helping you. Yeah, not your technicality. Your person, and in project management, personality plays a very important role. Yeah, very important role. I told you, like project managers are like soloist musicians. You don't play all the time because that is operations, but you play 1 minute, 2 minutes. You need to be the star those 2 minutes. The same in a company. In a company, when you are running a project, you are the star. So your personality needs to provide confidence. And that is the second skill that you need to have. All right, now we have learned that. What we need to define now. Okay, Santi, I know that, but tell me, Santi, how I define the project cost. And that's what I'm explaining you. So for you to define the project cost, you need to run a process. And that process is first, define the project goal. How can you calculate the costing of something that you don't have in your mind yet? So picture that project goal first. Secondly, you need to confirm, you need to identify the WBS. You need to do the paperwork. You need to do the exercise of doing the WBS, which is super, super time consuming. All right? Because in WBS, we need to use a technique to break down the project goal into smaller components. And we need to do that properly, because if we don't do it properly, it's not going to work. So how we do it, how we do the WBS, please remember. First, we break down the project goal in big chunks. And we call those chunks project stages. Stage 1, stage 2, they are huge. And usually, guys, for you to know, projects have 3-4 stages because they're huge. All right. Below each one of the stages, you have something that is called working groups or activity groups, which are activities related all clustered in one activity group. So you can give that cluster to a team, isn't it? But then when you have that cluster, which is the activity group, then you need to define the single activities, the individual activities. Again, if that activity can be broken down, once again, it's not an activity, it's an activity group. So how you prove that the activity is the minimum expression of working project management? When you say this activity can be done by one person that will be responsible for that activity with a cost associated to that activity, and it will be done under that responsibility, under that person's responsibility. One. So that is a WBS in a nutshell. All right. Then you have all the activities, and that is when you use your calculator and you say this activity is $10, the next one is $20. You may have 1,000 activities, but that's why costing is super time consuming, eh? Because but you don't add the clusters, you don't add the stages. It's too general. You may use that for quick estimation, of course, but for you to define the project cost that you need to communicate to the sponsor, you need to do the homework. What is the homework? Paper, calculator, adding each one of those activities. This is the project cost, project sponsor. But then, don't forget, you need to have the social skill, the communication skill, the negotiation skill, which is talking about the project cost to the project sponsor. But if you remember, please let me know, what is our golden card? What is our golden card for us to win that negotiation? When we talk about the project cost, for that project sponsor to approve that project cost, what is that we need to define, to explain to the project sponsor for us to get that approved? Who remembers that?
It's the benefit they're gonna get.
Who is they?
Project sponsor, or project sponsor for them.
Almost.
But also sometimes stakeholders if you're trying to, but that's usually when you're getting staff.
All right, you got it almost, all right? But love it, mate. The key word is benefit. That's how we win. In project management, we win negotiations not by explaining in detail the project goal, the project output. That could be very technical. They may not know about that software. They may not know about that production plant. They may not know about that new chemical that we want to use in a product. What we need to define, explain, is what is the benefit. Listen up, Samuel. What is the benefit to the company? And then is when we return from project to company, you see. So, hey, project sponsor, this is the cost. But look, if you approve this, the benefit to the company, not to the project sponsor, Sam, not to the project manager, no way, not to the working team, not to a stakeholder, no, the benefit to because that is how companies grow. Remember, once projects are fulfilled and completed, they are added to the company operation, the company grows, the company changes. So that is how we win. So first skill, project costing, WBS activity definition. Second skill, defining what is the benefit of the company if the project sponsor approves that cost. That is in a nutshell, all right? But at least now you know what we're talking about, and you need to have those skills. Now, to finalize this first part of the class, then we go for a break, all right? To finalize this, Santi, how we calculate this shit? Easy. First, all right, we need to define the project goal. If we don't have that project goal clear, don't do project costing. Wait until you have it. But it's very difficult. It's a moment of inspiration. It's an eureka moment. You know what I mean? It's not easy. Go and define the project goal. Wait. It's not that simple. The project goal is everything. Yeah. So if you don't have that clear in your mind, don't talk more about anything project management. Define the project goal, number one. Number two, now that you have the project goal, break it down using the WBS. Number three, talk to people, call suppliers, Call suppliers, call experts, call other companies that will be providing those components, those technologies, those processes, those resources to you, and call and tell them, look, my estimation is this for this activity, for this process, for this part. What is the actual cost? Because in project management, we have estimates and we have actual cost. So and they will tell you, no, it's more, man. Look, the inflation is crazy, 50%. The cost for this project this year is 50% more for this particular task. And you went like, oh shit, I need to go back to my paperwork. I need to calculate everything again. Or the company may tell you, look, fantastic, man. Like, we are using economies of scale. You know what are economies of scale, yeah? We are using economies of scale, and something that was $100 last year because of economies of scale, now is not 100, it's 80. And you will go, oh, great. So my costing will be lower, which will increase the possibility of being accepted, isn't it? All right. And finally, you need to create the summary. You need to create the document that you will be presenting to the project sponsor, the summary of the project costing. So how we calculate the project cost? Once again, define the project goal. Number 2, define and confirm the WBS. Number 3, source, research. What are the actual costs of each one of the tasks? Number 4, prepare the summary of the project costing to be presented to the project sponsor. That's it, guys. You got the knowledge. This is what you need to know. You don't need to know more. After the break, we are going to be talking about details, about assessments. But if you remember what I told you, I know it's not simple, but I reckon I was very clear in terms of how I structured it. That is the knowledge that project managers have related to project costing. Okay? Have a good break, and I will see you in 10 minutes, guys. Okay, guys, let's start again. Thank you, Nanda. Thank you, Axel.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, guys. So now let's go to the assessments. In the assessments, we fulfill the little gaps that we need to complete, that we need to fulfill in terms of knowledge and skills. So let's go. Let me check what assessment we have for this unit. Yes. All right, so we have an online quiz. Let's start with the online quiz, please. So go to your Accelerate and open the online quiz in your learning plan. Let me know when you have it in your Accelerate, please.
Yeah, already here.
Beautiful.
I'm there too.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful,
I'm there.
beautiful. All right, so for this quiz, we need the PM book. So have handy your PM book as well. I think everybody knows how to access it. Axel, do you know how to access the PM book?
Yeah, I think so.
Beautiful. All right, Maria Celina, welcome. We are doing the assessment for the unit managed project cost, the first assessment, which is the online quiz. So the first question is, all right, we need to identify what are the 4 steps for project cost management. All right. So we have 4 processes or 4 steps for this particular question. Go to the PM book and please tell me or tell us, because we can do this together, what is the first process?
Plan cost management.
Planning cost management. All right. So what is that? What is planning cost management, Sam?
The process of defining how the project cost will be estimated, budgeted, managed, monitored, and controlled.
which is basically having the project cost plan or the document that will be conceiving and giving all the information related to project costing. Well done. So that is the first one. The first one is planning, is having a document. That plan will be included in which macro plan, Samuel?
In the project management plan?
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
All right. Super important to remember this. With the project management plan is the repository of all the other sub-plans, being the project management plan the most important document in project management. Good. So that is the number one. That is the number one. That's the first process that we need to do. What is the process number two, Gonzalo?
To estimate the cost, the process of developing an approximation of the monetary resources needed to complete project work.
All right, beautiful. And we talk about different techniques, the WBS. There is another one that is called the bottom-up estimating, which is starting from the smaller components and going up to the ones that are more expensive and major. All right, but we don't need to focus on the specific techniques. We need to focus on the understanding of the planning. And then, all right, we know what is the planning of the project management costing. Then we need to propose what will be the approach to it, which is the number two, estimating the cost. But I just want you to remember the WBS. That is the main technique that we use here. All right, what is the process number three, Virginia?
Sorry, I'm on my phone and I'm struggling a bit to see the PM
No
book at
worries
the
then.
same time.
Difficult. No worries then. No worries then. That's okay. No worries at all. I know how.
Okay, thanks.
That's okay. Nanda, what is the process number three?
Determine the budget.
You see?
Process of aggregating the estimated cost of individual activities
Yep.
or work packages to establish an authorized cost baseline.
Beautiful. So now we have the cost baseline. Remember, every time that we have the word baseline, it means that it has been approved, which means that now we can determine if that costing fits the budget or not. Right? So that is the process number three, as we discussed it before. And what is the process number four? Gonzalo?
To control the costs.
Yeah, which is the most
monitoring.
which is the most difficult part. We have to use a project management system to control the costing. And we do this in collaboration with people in the company that are called controllers. Big organizations, they have people that are called controllers. What they do, they help project managers to manage, to control project costing, which means now that we have the project cost approved, so it's a project baseline. Now that we know it fits within our budget, beautiful. Now we need to run the project. Okay, so we start running the project and then we need to start controlling the costing, which means basically, guys, to be honest, to pay suppliers, to pay experts, to pay resources, you know, to generate a system that will ensure that the invoices associated to the project are paid on time. And also that the quotations that we receive are according to the initial estimating that we did. So that has two edges. One is making sure that we comply and we pay what we need to pay to suppliers and other people involved in the project, of course. But secondly, there is a little bit of auditing, which means, all right, now that I receive an invoice, I will go back to the contract and I'm going to contrast that invoice with the contract, find out, all right, what I'm being charged is correct or is not. So it has the controlling cost, it has two elements, all right? One is protecting the business, which means you don't pay more. And secondly, you honor the relationship that you have with your suppliers and other people collaborating with the project, so you pay the invoices that they generate. Extremely important. All right, beautiful. So that's the question one. Let's not forget about that one. You need to fulfill this in your assessment right now. The first one is planning. The second one is estimating. The third one is determining the budget. And the fourth one is controlling the cost. Nice, nice. All right, let's go to question number 2. We need to describe the responsibility of a project manager with regard to managing the project cost, not just controlling, managing. So what are the responsibilities of the project manager to manage the project cost? What is involved? Give me ideas, please.
Monitoring the spend.
Yes, but that one is definitely one of them. But let's just try to give these responsibilities in order. So when we write down our answers in the assessment, they are logically connected. That is a responsibility, controlling, but that is at the end. What is the first? What is the first responsibility? We talked about it before.
Defining the activities, doing
Before.
Estimate the total cost.
Before.
the
We talk about
goal.
it. Yes.
yeah, the goal.
So what is the responsibility?
To define the goal.
That's it. Define the goal. We need to define the goal first. I told you this. Without the goal, we don't have anything. The goal is everything. So what is the responsibility of the project manager when he's managing the project cost? Define the goal first. Yeah, all right. Now that we have defined the goal, now we can develop the cost management plan, okay? Now we can develop the cost management plan because the cost management plan is a result of we understanding that goal. So develop the project cost management plan. Sorry, the cost management plan, all right? Number 3. Number 3, look, this one, this particular question is mixing a little bit with managing the timelines. And there is a reason for this. There is a reason for this. What happens if an activity that was planned to be done in 1 week take us 2 weeks? What happens?
Costs us more.
That's it. Correct. So that's why, even though we are managing the project cost, we also need to be having, the timeline all the time in front of us. Because we need to make sure that we do what we need to do within that time frame. All right. So yes, we need to develop and we need to manage the project schedule. All right. Develop and manage the project schedule. That is another responsibility of us project managers in this particular area. And again, you may say, Santi, but this is project cost, this is not timelines. But as Samuel said, if you don't comply with the time frames, it will be more expensive. Make sense? Beautiful. Number, what could be the next responsibility? We talked a little bit about it before as well. We say one thing is the estimation that we have. But the other thing would be?
Talking to the supplier.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, to define what is the actual cost, not the estimated cost, but the actual cost. So once we have developed that project schedule, we need to resource the project. We need to source the project. We need to outsource people and companies. We need to find suppliers. We need to define if the estimation is matching the actual cost. All right? Resourcing the project. That is the next responsibility. All right. another responsibility that is very important is communicating the project cost to the project authorities, including the project sponsor, all right? So, because this is, again, we're talking about money, this has to be open. This cannot be like, I will not disclose this information with anyone in the company, quite the opposite. Transparent organizations, they have open books, which means that people can see what is the money that is being spent. Right? So it is important. All right, now that I know what is the goal, now that I have a plan to manage the project, now that I have talked to people, to the industry, to suppliers, to define the actual cost, now I'm going to disclose, I'm going to talk about this with people that is connected to that in the project, usually the project sponsor. Controllers as well, we talk about them, all right? So it is important to have an open book in regards to the costing of the project. That is another responsibility. And the last responsibility is what Nanda told us. What was that, Nanda?
Monitoring the budget, the cash flow, the spend.
Monitoring, not the budget. Again, remember that we cannot use the word budget, monitoring the cost.
Cost.
Monitoring, and even better, monitoring and controlling. You need to have a look at it, but then if something is not working, you need to control it. So monitoring and controlling the project cost. Those are the responsibilities of the project manager when we're talking about managing the project cost. Can you repeat them, Gonzalo, just in case someone is missing one?
Yes, define the project goal, develop the cost management plan, develop and manage the project schedule, define the current cost, resourcing about the project, communicating the project cost, and monitoring and controlling the project cost.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well done. How good is that? How good is that? Now we know what are the responsibilities that we have in that regards. Fantastic. All right, question number 3, please. Can someone read it for me?
Provide 5 examples of information required to estimate costs for a project.
All right, so let's think about it. Let's think about it for a second. We need to provide 5 examples of information. What is information data? What is information knowledge? What is information lessons learned? What is information industry standards? What is information legislation? What is information suppliers in the market? What is information exchange rates if we are paying someone overseas? That is information that we require. Right? But to be more specific, we need, the first information that we need is a description of all project activities. All right? So we need to have done the WBS. That is critical information, to have the WBS, which basically means that we have a description of all, not some, but all project activities, all right? We are forecasting, we are visualizing. You understand that? You understand that we are visualizing, yeah? We are traveling in time. We are forecasting, we are visualizing, we are estimating the project activities, all of them. That's why the mind of the project manager is fantastic, because he's traveling to the future and trying to define or trying to do back engineering to say, all right, if this is the result, if this is the project goal, let's go back. Let's go reverse engineering. Have you heard about reverse engineering before? Yeah, so it's that mindset. It's the mindset of reverse engineering to go back to the minimum expression of work, which are the activities. All right, good. So we have a description of all activities that we need to do as a result of our WBS. We need to have a description of all resource requirements, which is negotiating with suppliers, which is defining what are the resource requirements. In project management, Virginia, when we talk about resources, we can divide that word into 2 categories. You remember what those 2 categories are when we talk about resources in project management?
No.
That's okay. Samuel, you remember when we talk about resources, we divide that in two categories. Give me one.
I can't remember off the top of
That's
my head. But usually, isn't it like time or not time, like people or
Yep.
things also.
So that's one, how we call it, human resources.
Human, yeah.
So that is one category. And what is the other one?
Company or something, or assets or something.
Assets, tools, technology. In project management, we call it tools and technology, which is basically, all right, you need, think about the farmer, all right? Think about a farmer. What is the farmer? The person. But the farmer needs the truck. The farmer needs, a shovel. The farmer needs the tools to do the work. So when we talk about resources, we're talking about people plus tools. People plus tools. And those tools could be software, could be hardware, could be raw materials. Okay, Virginia, don't forget about it. When we talk about resources in project management, we need to divide it in two, always, people and tools. So that is important for that third point, for that question, all right? We need a description of the resource requirements. All right, for the question number 3, first example, description of all project activities. Second example, description of all resource requirements, all the resources that we need, people, tools, technology, raw materials, and so on. Number 3, we need to know what is the cost of those resources. All right? We need to know the cost. And that's when we research, we talk about it. Number 4, another important information that we need. What is the duration required to complete an activity? Another example information, historical data that we have from previous projects, lessons learned. All right? And finally, we need information related to the business accounts. Business accounts, why? Because organizations, they have accounts for food, accounts for advertising, accounts for tools, accounts to manage human resources, accounts to run maintenance. You know what I mean? So imagine that you're running the project and one important activity of the project is to clean up the laboratory or to clean up the work area after each activity. It may be, and you may need to call maintenance to do that. So that cost will be to a business account that is not marketing, that is not advertising, is maintenance. So when we are working with costs, we need to know what are the accounts, the chart of accounts, the business accounts. So when the controllers, the financial department is organizing the information, they can match cost to accounts. All right? So that is the information that we need. Gonzalo, once again, can you repeat that question, please? The answer to that question.
Yes. First, description of all project activities when we have the WBS done.
Yep.
Description of all resources requirements, human resources and tools, whatever we need, cost of those resources, duration required to complete the activities. We can use historical data and lesson learned, and information related to business accounts.
That's it. The last one is very important, to be honest. Because you need to reconciliate what you spend against some business accounts. All right, that's good. All right, question number 4. Oof. Question number 4. I will let the next 3 questions for you guys to disclose. All right. So everybody has the online quiz. Maria Celina, you have the online quiz? I need you guys to work in groups or just try to define. I have helped you enough for this online quiz, all right? So I will, Mari, I cannot hear you, to be honest. Something is not working at your end. All right, use the PM book, talk to your classmates, and define the WBS, and do the next 2 questions in your round, all right? I will catch up with you guys in 5 minutes. But I want everybody to be talking and cooperating with these questions. Come on, fellas, come on. Let's all answer that question. I just don't want to be the only one talking, all right? So what is the next question, guys?
How does the WS contribute to the process of determining project costs?
All right. Write about it, talk about it with your classmates, define, agree on one answer, and write that answer in your assessment, please.
Yeah. So the WS, with the WS, we know the activities, so we can find out the actual cost, right? We can call the suppliers and find out the actual cost of the project. I think that's the answer. I don't know what else.
What do I got? Yeah, so I just added in that you're breaking it down to the smallest possible value and then working on each of those.
So with the WBS, I think we can determine like each step of the project.
Hmm.
So like divide it to the multiple costs.
Yep.
So how we write it down then?
What do I got? I just did the WBS is the breakdown of activities to the smallest breakdown of the project to the smallest activities. And using the smallest value, you can estimate the cost by talking to experts or suppliers. And then adding up all the costs, you can get the project cost.
That was
And
really
so
good,
we can
Samuel.
get more accurate costs, yeah, by breaking down the activities.
So you break it down to the smallest possible value for the activities, and then you go to each person you need to talk to and be like, hey, I got this thing, and they tell you how much it costs. And then once you've got all of your activities costed, you can go, okay, I add all this up, and that's the cost of my project. Has anyone started number 5?
I'm just looking at it, but yeah.
Think about number 5 as an assessment. As an assessment. You are, look, it's a quantitative assessment. Remember that we were talking about figures, about numbers before? So for you to answer this question, try to think about it as an assessment. But what kind of assessment? A quantitative one. One that will give us a figure, one that will give us a number. So what is a cost estimate is a quantitative assessment of those project activities involved in the completion of a project. I just want you guys to remember that. It's a quantitative assessment. That is the technical word that we have to use there.
Anyone got any idea?
What question you guys working on?
5.
5. Axel's typing in chat. So
That's an easy one. Try to complete that one.
where are people up to? I'm on 7.
Are we still in 5 or?
Guys, once you reach
I'm on
question,
7.
all right, stop there because I need to help you with that one, Sam. But I want everybody to be there, all right? So I will give everybody 5 minutes to get to point number 7 because that one is extremely technical and I need to explain that with examples. So keep working, guys. Some good work, but let's just wait for the rest of the team to catch up. Once you are in question number 7, let me know.
Number 5 is just, I think, more general. It's just what kind of stuff that might you need depending on the project. And number 6, Santi has in the chat.
Okay, guys, question 7. All right, let's pay attention to this because we need to define some techniques. All right, I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can. All right, there is one technique that is called analogous estimating. All right, have you heard about it? Probably not. Yeah, Gonzalo, have you heard? So that is one technique that is called analogous estimating. Anybody has heard about that technique to estimate project cost? All right, look, that is the technique that is used by majority of companies to estimate project cost. I would like to tell you that majority of companies use the WBS, but the reality is that a lot of companies don't have expert professional project managers like you. You know what I mean? So they use, the vast majority of companies, they use analogous estimating, but it's not a good technique. It's a good information source, yes, but it's not a good technique. It's not accurate. You know, you understand what I mean with it's not accurate. Why is not? Because it's using the costing of a previous similar project. It is like, all right, if the previous project was $3,000 and is similar to this one is $3,000 as well, just like this. You got it? Just like that. And that's why I'm telling you, majority of companies do that. They just want to define things quickly. And they say, if last year I paid $3,000 for a similar project this year, I will have the same cost. All right. So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. I will write an example in the chat. Sorry about the misspelling, guys. Sorry about the misspelling, okay? But imagine that an organization wants to build a new office building and uses the cost of a similar office building in the same city to estimate the cost of the new project. That is analogous estimate. All right? That is analogous estimating. Got it?
Yes.
So analogous estimating is a project estimation method that uses historical data from similar projects. Axel, you have to go? We didn't have chance to talk much today. I know you're new. I know it's a lot of information. Are you enjoying the classes, mate? Tell us something before you go.
Yeah, thank you, teacher, for the class. I have some debts, but it's okay. I can check the book. I can finish this assessment.
Work on your assessments. You are a little bit behind on your assessments, Axel.
Yes.
I was
Yeah, I
checking
need to check
file
on that.
today, and you are behind your assessments. Try to catch up, okay?
Yep. It is great.
And you're just starting. No worries. You're going to get knowledge as you advance. Have a good one. See you next time.
Oh,
All right. All right. So it is clear what is analogous estimating? All right. It's not what we want to do. All right. It's not what we want to do. All right. That is one technique. The one that I want you guys to use is one that is called parametric estimating. All right. Parametric estimating. Why? Because this one is a method of estimating the project cost that is using real statistical data between project variables. It will give you standard deviation. It will give you averages. It will allow you to take in consideration inflation. It will allow you to take in consideration how the economy grows in a particular company, in a particular country. It will tell you to allow, it will allow you to take in consideration many variables that will estimate almost to perfection the cost of a project. This method is extremely accurate, but it requires more time. It requires more data analysis. Have you heard, guys, about a role that is called business analyst? Anyone? So this is what the business analysts do. They do parametric estimation and they help you with that in a project. So that is another technique. All right, another technique that is a good one. I like it, and I use it sometimes. It's called bottom-up estimating. We talked a little bit about this one before. Guys, in the chat, I am writing some information for you guys to have as a guideline, okay? Bottom-up estimating, all right, is detailed, is resource-orientated, is breaking down the project in smaller components, is using the WBS technique. The WBS technique, activities, goal. Is very accurate, but is extremely time consuming because you need to do the WBS timeline and costing. But that's why we're learning this anyway. All right, this bottom-up estimating is based on the WBS technique that we have discussed before. I will give you an example of that technique. So, example, a construction company wants to estimate the cost of building a new hospital and uses bottom-up estimating method for each component, such as excavation. So what is the cost of excavation? That's the first thing they need to do. Foundation, they cannot do the structure without the foundation. Then the structure and then the finishes. You see how it escalates from excavation to having the building ready? That is WBS, guys. Well done. The next technique, I find it so entertaining. I like it. Oops, just give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second. The next technique, guys, is called 3-point estimating. 3-point estimating. What do you reckon? If we're talking about 3 points estimating, what do you reckon? What it could be? Be creative.
Most likely,
yeah,
optimistic and pessimistic.
That's it. The most likely, the best scenario, and the worst scenario. And that's why I find it so entertaining because it's just you playing with 3 variables. This is what is going to happen. More likely because the industry is pointing that direction. The dollar is behaving, it has been stable. But what is the worst scenario? The dollar goes up and we need to pay more for resources. You understand what I mean with the dollar? Have you noticed what is happening with the dollar lately? So that is the worst scenario. And what is the best scenario? The best scenario is providers are giving us better prices because they are using economies of scale. The dollar is going down, so we have more power of more purchasing power. So the scenario is positive. The cost of the project will be lower. Yeah, I like that one. I like that technique. But guys, this is an assessment, and you need to. But I don't want you to remember all of this crap. This is too much for you to remember. I want you to remember what we discussed at the beginning of the class, in the lesson. Australia is very strict with the assessments, and we need to provide all this information, okay. But this is not what I want you to remember. I want you to remember WBS. I want you to remember what is the difference between budgeting and costing. I want you to remember that you need to know how to do the WBS. I need you to remember that you need to know how to talk to the project sponsor in terms of benefits. That's what I need you to remember. All of this, you do the research and done, all right? But it's not the core of the class. But it's good to have this extra knowledge anyway. So an example for that 3-point estimating will be provided in the chat. You can use the example as well. If you want to use the example in your answer, that will be good too. Virginia, how are you traveling? Are you working on your assessment? Yeah, good,
Yes, I'm following up.
good. Guys, how are we going? This is our last class for a lot of you guys, eh? For at least for Sam and Gonzalo is the last class. How are you feeling?
Feeling good.
Give me some feedback. Sam.
Still feeling good. Still, I got to do the observational for this one section, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
I
yeah.
checked your profile today. You have pretty much everything completed.
Yeah.
So this,
Yeah, it's going well.
have you
Happy with it.
learned? Samuel, have you learned?
Yeah. I needed I needed time this morning to wake up. It's just like,
Fair enough, me too. But tell me, Gonzalo, you have experience in this. You know, when you start the course, you were already a project manager anyway. How you found how you found the program, you know, constructive? Is adding knowledge to your skill set?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I didn't work in a project as project manager, but I was going with different project managers or working with project managers in the company. So that's why I wanted to know more about what they do and to maybe run projects after, not even for companies, but also for personal businesses or whatever. So it's giving me knowledge. I think it's more just a matter of start practicing and doing things to land all the knowledge to reality.
Yep. Yeah, of course. But I have the feeling when I talk to Virginia, to Nanda, that you guys have got the knowledge that is required to participate in this industry. I have the feeling that you are more confident now. You know, when I ask you questions, boom, you really point those answers in the right direction, and I think that's very positive. All right, cool. So 3 points estimating is a good technique. It is a really good one. It's not that accurate, but it's a good technique. We have more techniques. All right. But how can I explain this one to you? All right. There is another one that I want you guys to add. Actually, going to give you 2 more because I reckon the new one is very important. So there is another one that is called fixed budget estimating. You know what is that one? The company will tell you, Gonzalo, this is the budget that you have approved for that project. So your costing, regardless, has to match it. The company will tell you $3,000 for you to complete that project. We are not going to give you $1 more. You got it, guys? That is the fixed budget estimating. And companies use that as well to create pressure on project managers. I don't like it because it's so fixed. There is no flexibility whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's like the client is telling you, look, this is what I have. I have $200,000 to build my house. Can you do it? And this is the house that I want. Can you? And then you go, we need more. No, I have 200. If you cannot do it, I will go to a different builder. You know what I mean? It's that tough. It's fixed. All right. And I'm going to give you one that is coming, man, and it's starting to change the project management industry. All right. Up to you if you want to add it. Artificial intelligence, software-based estimating. This is using artificial intelligence to define what is the cost of a project for the project manager. And believe me, that's why I'm telling you, it's up to you if you want to add it to your answers, but it's starting to get traction in the industry. We talked last class about GTP chat, remember? Did we talk about that? So that's what's happening. All right, now you have different techniques that you can use for that answer, which is the question number 7. Are they clear? Are they clear? Did you understand them? Nanda, yeah? Which one do you like the most, Nanda? And why?
3-point estimating.
Yeah, it's fun,
Like,
isn't it?
it's gonna be like give us the clearer view of what we want and what we're afraid to if using the budget to do the budgeting.
Good one. 100% agree with that. Very efficient. I mean, it's so logical. This is what may happen because this is the reality of the industry. This is the best scenario. This is the worst scenario. I will be estimating the cost of the project using that technique. Samuel, which one is your favorite of this one, or the one that you reckon is more interesting to you?
I think parametric estimating.
That is the professional one, eh? That is the one that is using economy factors, like gross domestic product. That is the one that is using inflation. That is the one that is that is done by economists and business analysts. This is the one that is done by government. This is the one that is done by large multinationals when they need to open a new market. This is extremely accurate, but it's crazy difficult. All right, good one. Gonzalo, which one do you like the most?
I think the bottom-up estimation.
That is the one that we learned in this class, the WBS.
Everyone. But also, I was going to ask you, what we decide to use, it's depending on the company, the project, or what we like to do it.
Good question.
Also, we can do use, for example, parametrics, but also doing the 3-point estimating.
Not likely, because remember, we are against the clock in project management. So we are always trying to execute with maximum efficiency, and repeating tasks or duplicating tasks is not ideal, it's not recommended. So I cannot tell you that. I cannot recommend you that. My recommendation is choose one that is more aligned to your knowledge and to your capabilities. However, if the company goes and tells you, we use fixed budget estimation, there is nothing that you can do about it. The only one that is dictated by the company, Gonzalo, is the fixed budget estimation. That is the only one. But everything else is up to the project manager to decide.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to run. This is a loan assessment, my friends. Oof. This is a loan assessment. How can we do this? Let's do the following because we don't have much time. We will not be able to complete the entire assessment today. All right, so Sam, go to your assessment, find 2 questions that you find difficult, that you need help with, and I'm going to be explaining those 2. Same for you, Gonzalo, same for you, Virginia, and same for you, Nanda. Scroll down, find those questions that you think, I need help, and I will be pointing those questions in that order. Can you do that for me, please?
But can we look at the next question without answering it first? Or?
What is the next one, Marit? What number?
Nanda, you can click on them on the left.
On the left.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
In the left, not on the assessment per se, but on the left.
Yep, I got it.
Beautiful. It's going to take you time, 5-10 minutes well used. Select 2 questions that you need help with. Okay. So let's work with the questions 22 and 25. All right. For question 22, Sam.
Yep.
So first, you need to determine the cost variance, because one thing is the cost planned, the one that you estimated, the other one is the actual cost, as I explained before. So there is always a variance there. All right. But then you need to define if that is caused by how is it caused? What are the factors that are causing that variance? So if the cost variance is representative to the future, the formula is there for you to read and for you to analyze if you want to add it. However, if the cost variance is not representative of the future, then the estimated time to completion has to be adjusted by the cost performance index, all right? Which is another factor that is used to change the cost without affecting the baseline. It's very technical, but that is how it works. So is a question that may be asked. Someone will ask you, hey, Samuel, tell me how long it will take us to complete this project. How can you estimate the duration of this project, not at the beginning, but now that we are ongoing, that we are working on it? So then you have these two techniques. One is if the cost variance is representative to the future or if it's not. Hope that helps. Very technical question. One of those that I don't need you to remember, but I hope that information gave you a hand with it. Question number 25. We need to list 5 records that can be used to review the effectiveness. So 5 records is 5 documents. All right, 5 documents. 5 documents that are recorded in the project management plan. All right, I'm going to give you a list of, let me check, 10 documents, and then you can use that as a baseline. So this is for question 25, guys. Budgets from the company, of course, cash flows from the company, cost management, lessons learned from previous projects, cost management plans, invoices, as we discussed it, other projects files, quotations from suppliers, recommended course of actions, and other reports from stakeholders. Those are documents that you may use to review the effectiveness of your project cost management, okay?
Thank you.
So this we are going to use at the end of the project, right?
Yeah, all of these at the end of the project to review the efficiency, the accuracy of your estimation. Yeah, so the cash flow, for example, is a really good one because then it will tell you, well, the money that has to be paid was paid, still the company is making money to support those costings. So that's a good one, and that is very, very helpful for that one. The budgets, of course, the commitment to expend those budgets is a good one, and that is documented. The lessons learned, especially when it comes to finances, banking, suppliers that didn't comply, that didn't fulfill the conditions last period, last project, that's good too. Obviously, the cost management plan is a document that we know is critical for this particular unit, invoices and payment plans. So how people is going, how are we going against our obligations? Yeah, quotations, contracts. You remember what I told you? You know, at the end you may say, all right, this is what I paid to this contractor. What was written when we start working on this project in the contract? Is that matching, yes or no? And financial reports. Usually we report to the financial department and controllers. Any other question? Nanda, question 9. Question. All right. So an example of that software-based estimating is artificial intelligence. There is not yet a particular software that is being used, but for example, ChatGPT will give you information related to estimations of projects. So that is one potential answer. The other answer is something that is called the Monte Carlo simulation, which use crazy amount of variables to define what will be the cost of a project. So it's a very technical question. I will give you the answer to the chat, but if you don't want to use the Monte Carlo simulation, because obviously it's extremely crazy, you can use artificial intelligence of the narrow kind, or general artificial intelligence if that's your preference, to answer that question. But in the chat, there is a full answer for that question if you want to use that one.
Thank you.
Sorry, Santi, just a quick one. How soon do we need the observation completed?
Sam, might ideally within the next 2 weeks, ideally. But if you know, because I check everybody's profile today. I mark a couple of assessments. the sooner the sooner the better, because I can send a report to the school. You will receive your diploma faster. But you have 2 weeks from this Sunday. I reckon you have 2 weeks to complete whatever you need to complete. Oh yeah. Gonzalo, there was one assessment that you submitted with empty answers. So I don't know what happened. Probably was a software mistake, but you need to have a look at that, Mike.
Oh yeah, I will check. I still have, I think, 1 or 2 observations to complete, but I will check the other ones.
Yep.
Santi, for the question number 11, identify and describe 4 costing techniques are going to be the same, like the same as bottom-up estimation.
Yes, man. Sorry about that. I will have a look at that. That's a duplicated question, man.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. I will take a note of it. Yeah. Just mention 4, but it's the same question that you had before. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Didn't notice that.
Great. And question number 8, that describe 3 factors which influence the reliability and accuracy of analogous. I thought about like the economic, the suppliers, like 3 factors that can change, like influence the accuracy. Economic, because it's always changing. We don't know what is going to happen. Suppliers, because they can change the prices maybe of the services that they're going to give us. Or
of course, because they are totally free to do that. They are not constricted by a contract. Once they sign the contract, they need to provide that value under that amount. But when you are just researching or resourcing, they are free to tell you this is 50% more. That's how it is.
Yeah.
Like happens in Australia because of COVID with bannings and all the building supply, all the building materials went to the roof. You know, all the plywood was like 50% more expensive. There is nothing that we project managers can do about that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So
what else?
I'm trying to think, well, economic suppliers, and I'm trying to think another one that can influence the accuracy of. But it's going to be, I thought, in time, because something can happen and can vary your estimation.
Of course. So the accuracy of historical information that you have is important too. When you are using analogous estimation, remember that analogous estimation is based on the past, yeah? Mm-hmm. So the accuracy of that data is important for analogous estimation. Right, so for parametric, we need to consider different information from different sources, government sources, industry sources, expert sources. Why? Because we need to take all of them in consideration to have a good average. But also what you have mentioned in terms of economy growth is important too. Like the inflation of a country will be critical for us to do a good parametric estimation. And also, as I mentioned before, the exchange rates. Because if you are in a very stable economy, likely the parametric estimation will not have any issue. But if you are in a very unstable economy because war, because of financial crisis, because of, I don't know, turmoil, whatever is happening that you cannot control, parametric estimation will not work. When you are estimating the cost of a project, and you are working in a project based on a country that is in war, that is having difficulties, I will use Nanda's selection, which is the 3-point estimation. But if you are working on a very stable country, 3 years, nothing is changing, use parametric because things will not change. So it will be very, very precise.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Pleasure.
Santi, just quick questions.
Go ahead.
So we need to do this is not regarding the assessment though. Just we need to do all the observation things for each unit, or for example for task for unit number 5, manage project stakeholder, I still haven't do the observation, and then the number 6, manage team effectiveness, I haven't done the workplace practical and simulation. So we need to do everything.
So let me check your profile. Nanda, you finalizing as well this today? You finalizing the program today?
I'm not sure.
Let me check. I will check for you that. We'll check for you that in a second. Let me check it.
Because last time I asked is like a few weeks ago, you said like don't worry about that yet. So I just like,
Let me check. I will double check now.
yeah, thank you.
You don't have much to do. You have done a lot. I have to do a lot of marking for you. That's what I need to do. But yes, you need to complete a couple of assessments. That's it. You have done a lot of work. You are not behind. I just need to organize what I need to organize. You have 2 weeks to complete whatever you need to complete. And I have 2 weeks to complete all the marking. That is basically what it is.
So just complete everything, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like 2 assessments that you are behind. It's not.
It's a task to the observation and then workplace practical thing.
I know, that's it. So do that. If you need help, let me know. But I need to do marking for you. I have done a lot of marking for Gonzalo and Samuel in the last few days, but I will catch up with you, mate.
Thank you.
And Virginia, let me just check how Virginia is going.
Yeah, sorry, Santi, while you're doing that, I was trying to check the ones that probably I didn't complete the answers, but I can kind of like review the observations or the quizzes. So I believe you will have to like disapprove
Yeah.
the ones so I can.
So you can
redo
start
it.
again. That makes sense. Yeah, likely. Give me a second. I will have a look at that too. Virginia, you are totally okay. You're totally fine. Need to do a couple of markings for you, but
Okay.
yeah,
So this is the last class, right?
let me check, my dear.
Okay.
No, Virginia, you still have, still have 4 more units to complete.
4 more units.
4 more units, but it's not because you are behind, it's because you started later than Gonzalo.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
So you continue working with me next class. Next class,
Okay.
we have about 10 new students, Virginia. You will have,
Okay.
you are going to have, you will see that you will have more advantage compared to the others, but you need to be a little bit patient with me because I need
That's okay.
I need to start with them from the very beginning, which is managed project,
Right.
which is managed project scope. But yeah, 4
Okay.
classes. I will send you a report. But you are not behind at all. You just need to continue working with me. 4 more classes.
Okay.
Okay, so for the next class, me and Virginia will be still here. We just like do the assessment that we haven't done while you do the lesson to the new students.
Let me check, Nanda. Let me check your case. I think your case is different. Let me just find it. Virginia has to come next class because Virginia is still enrolled. And Virginia is just like she has done like 70%, 75% of the program. With Nanda, let me check. Nanda, this is your last class, my friend. This is your last class. Yeah. You started.
I'm really flies, eh?
Yes, you started the 30th of July. Started the 30th of July. Yeah. This is your last class, my friend. I have all the reports of your assessments there. You have completed the program. It went fast, eh?
Yep. So I just need to complete everything and that's it.
Yeah, but there is not much that you need to complete. Like a couple of assessments. That's it.
Yeah.
Have a look at your.
I have a question.
Yeah, Virginia, go ahead.
So in my learning plan, it looks like all the units are done, or am I missing something? Because what I can see is like the first one is project stakeholder engagement. So
Yeah.
is something missing there, or
No. Next class, next week, sorry.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
this works in cycles, Virginia. Yep. So we are finalizing one big cycle today. All right.
Okay.
Because you started later, you were enrolled in the school later. So you started later in this cycle. So next cycle, which start next week with new students, it's a new group.
Yeah.
You will be involved in that new cycle, but only 4 units, not 12.
Oh, I see.
So
So I will have like a new learning plan.
You will have a new learning plan. You will have a new entry
Okay.
point to the accelerated software. So you will have like 2 diplomas of project management. This one that you are doing now, which is like 8 units, and the new one, which is the one that we start tomorrow. So you will have like 2 diplomas, but you don't worry about that. It's just that the software needs to accommodate you.
So I do need to finish this one for next week.
No, you still have to.
Ideally.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
can, that would be nice. That would be nice. Just that
Okay.
would make my work much easier. But next class, Virginia, when you start the class, you will see that you will have 4 new units in your learning. Not in that learning plan. You will have
In another one.
That is only 4
Okay.
units. Guys, thank you for
Okay.
coming. I appreciate your questions. I hope that you have enjoyed the program until today with Samuel and Gonzalo and Nanda. And Virginia, I will see you next class. Sam, Gonzalo, Nanda, thank you guys. I appreciate all your participation. Anything that you
Thank you.
let me know. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Santi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Bye,
you guys.
guys. Thank you.
Say bye to
Santi,
Gonzalo.
I just from now on just communicate with you through email. Is that all right?
Email. Of course, if you want to came to the class, but you don't need to. You know what I mean? You finalize it.
Okay. Fair enough. Yep.
Email, and we organize whatever we need to organize. And
Thank you.
You get the diploma like 3 days after we send the report to Lonsdale. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Santi.
Thanks, Santi.
Cheers.
Cheers.